What's up? Russ here over at twitch.tv/the rest of us wear hats, recording a legacy video for the YouTube channel with blue white. I've been calling it Go. You can call it Miracles. You can call it blue white control. You could even call it blue white initiative. But let's take a closer look and start looking at individual card choices. Basically, this is a blue-white control list, playing a lot of familiar suspects. We got Swords to Plowshares, Ponder, Brainstorm, Jace the Mind Sculptor, Teferi, Back to Basics, Terminus. These are all cards that blue-white control has played for as long as they've been around and are all very powerful, but we got some new options too. The two things that make this deck a little funky, a little less obvious in my opinion, are the 4 Squadron Hawks and the 4 White Plume and 1 Feywild Caretaker to be 5 initiative creatures. These are a little weird to be playing out of your control deck, but I think they offer a great source of advantage that's really hard for your opponent to interact with. And on an empty board, which your deck is very good at creating with Swords to Plowshares, Terminus, Solitude, your other pieces of removal, on an empty board, these cards very quickly run away with the game. So I think they're a pretty good fit. Squadron Hawk is a card that I've turned to in the past few weeks to combat the initiative decks, where Hawk is very good at fueling Solitude, which is a card that's very good at interacting with both White Plume Adventurer and Seasoned Dungeoneer, but also is very good just as a 1/1 flyer to take back the initiative, and to chump block to make sure you keep it, because making sure you keep it is worth very many cards and a lot of tempo as the game progresses. So the Hawks are also in here for card advantage. We have 4 Brainstorm, 3 Jace. The goal here is to keep, as long as we don't need to play a Hawk or pitch it to Solitude, we'd like to keep Hawks in hand so that we can keep brainstorming them away, maybe putting them on bottom with Terminus, and drawing them again. We're just using them as blank pieces of cardboard so that we can keep our hand full. 3 Jace, a little bit of a throwback, but I would argue this is correct for decks like this going forward, and that is because of these 6 cards and these 4. You'll see I'm calling it 10-pitch Go. It's because there are 10 pitch spells in this deck. And I think that the synergy between Jace and other, really powerful card advantage engines with these free, tempo positive, card advantage negative interactive pieces is slightly underexplored. Being able to cast Jace and then for 0 mana, remove the creature that is going to interact with your Jace or remove the creature that's going to kill you is really powerful. Same thing with Subtlety and Force of Will. These are all cards that they trade card quantity for tempo advantage. And Jace does the exact opposite, right? Jace gives you plenty of cards to play with, but is very tempo negative, especially in 2022. So I think these cards all play really well together, where you're putting cards in your hand, you have a bunch of cardboard to play with, and to recoup that tempo loss from playing clunky cards like Jace, Squadron Hawk, you can regain it by casting spells that are free, that interact with your opponent. Terminus, similar, huge tempo swing to be able to miracle Terminus for 1 mana. I honestly might want the 3rd one. I've been thinking about that a lot. And then in the sideboard, you'll see also we have a bunch of other free spells. To Submerge against the green decks, a Surgical, a 3rd Subtlety. I think Subtlety is really the most underexplored card out of these 3 in Legacy. Subtlety is a fine interactive piece against some of the combination decks, like Oops All Spells, like Doomsday, where there are creatures that are important to interact with that you can interact with for free, but also subtlety can come in matchups where you don't want Force of Will, where, like, say you're playing against Delver. Sometimes you really want the Force of Will for their turn 3 8/8 Murktide, but you know that in a long game where they don't have that fast of a start, drawing a Force of Will is a huge cost, right? It's this thing that doesn't really do anything. To get a full card out of it, you have to tap 5 lands, or you can, trade with one of their cards, but you have to 2-for-1 yourself. So Force of Will can be really dangerous in these long games against Delver, where I would argue Subtlety is a lot better, where if you need to interact with that turn 3 Murktide that's going to kill you really fast, easy. We'll Subtlety it. If you want to play a longer game and just hold your mana up, and you hit your 5th land drop, and you have Subtlety, and you're going to play around Daze, and you're just taking your 2-for-1 3/3 flyer trades with most of their creatures, Subtlety is also amazing. So I think people are not high enough on this card. Also, it's very good against the initiative decks, where the difference between a turn 1 adventurer or a turn 2 adventurer is sometimes the entire game, and they're often going to cavern out that creature on turn 1 or turn 2. And being able to put it on top to get your Hawk in play, your mana set up to cast your White Plume the following turn and take the initiative back, really powerful. So I think this card's really underexplored. Mana base is very simple. We have 10 fetchable lands in 6 basic islands, 3 basic plains, 1 tundra. Between White Plume Adventurer getting you basic lands and just all of your cards really wanting to be cast either on curve or a turn behind through a Daze, you do not want to miss land drops in this deck, and you don't want to let your opponent interact with your land drops. And I think that playing basic lands in the deck like this is very strong. You do miss out on a red splash, where sometimes Pyroblast is very good, though I think we are good against the decks that Pyroblast is very good against. So I'm not that worried about that. The fair matchups are all pretty good, because those are the matchups that these initiative creatures in Squadron Hawk really shine in. But also, it would help to have a third color to be able to hit 3 mana spells with Prismatic Ending, but I think the upside of just being entirely Wasteland proof, just keep putting basic lands into play, your White Plume Adventurer, the second time it goes through the Undercity, still giving you a basic land, still drawing cards for you to brainstorm away. I think that's really powerful, and playing a bunch of basics is where I want to be in a list like this. The rest of the mana base is pretty simple. We have 1 Karakas, which I think is good enough to play, even though it can get wastelanded. And then the 10 fetches. 4 Strand, 4 Vista are your best 2 fetches, and then 1 white fetch, 1 blue fetch. You can play whatever you want. I'm an Arid Mesa enjoyer, and I felt like playing Misties today. The only other thing I want to talk about before we hop into a league is the removal split. I know this is a little funky to have only 2 Swords to Plowshares and 4 Solitude. I think that with Squadron Hawk drawing you cards to pitch to Solitude, and with Solitude just being such a key part of your game plan against fair decks, where you're just going to cast this on turn 5 or on turn 6 or on turn 10, and you're going to get that Flame Tongue Kavu that trades for a creature on their side and then starts to gain you some life, starts to retake the initiative. I think Solitude's really powerful, and I think Solitude is an underexplored card in Legacy as well, where it's okay that sometimes you have to pitch a card, because it's so good when you actually cast this spell, and this deck is so good at putting those cards in your hand. I do have the last 2 plows in the sideboard, and they come in a fair number of matchups, but I think you don't need all 4 in the main deck if you have access to 4 Solitude and 2 Terminus. I also have 2 Prismatic Ending, which again could be the 2 Swords to Plowshares that we're missing, but I think having a little bit of diversity in the removal suite to remove cards in the main deck like Chalice of the Void, Carpet of Flowers, Sylvan Library is very good. These come out against decks that don't have things that cost 1 and 2. That's alright, though. The sideboard, we've been over mostly. I bring in Hydroblast in some extra matchups. I think Hydroblast is very powerful right now. The last 2 Swords of Plowshares, an extra Back to Basics. I think you might not need this anymore. It's good against Control and it's good against Delver, but sometimes if I see them playing around it, I don't even want it for Game 3. So I'm not sure if you need this. It's very good against things like lands, obviously, but that deck is so bad against Initiative Stompy that I don't know that it's a reasonable part of the meta right now, and I don't know if you need it. We're maybe the only blue deck in the format that gets to play Rest in Peace, because almost everybody is using their graveyard in some way, so that's very powerful. And then I found Stony Silence to be really good against both, the 8 casts of the world that it's really obvious against, but also it's really good against Storm, whatever gamble thing Tony Scapone is doing. He's got Chrome Moxes and Lotus Petals and LEDs that you can shut down. So Stony Silence is really good in a lot of matchups that you wouldn't expect it. So I've been really happy with 1 copy here. Yeah, that's the deck. Let's hop into round 1. I'll see you in a minute. What's up? Here for round 1. Unfortunately on the draw, but fortunately with a pretty reasonable hand. I'll keep this. Hopefully they don't do anything I have to force a will on turn 1, because I can't do that. Ancient Tomb, they might. Amulet, holy shit. I don't know what that means, but I'm slightly afraid. I'm gonna play Island. I feel like there's a chance I need to brainstorm for a pitch spell. Obviously, I would prefer to not cast Brainstorm right now, but I've been wondering about Amulet in Legacy a little bit. I don't know what Ancient Tomb means, but I have been thinking about whether or not the Elvish Reclaimer decks could get some value out of Amulet. Immediately untapping Gaia's Cradle when they put it into play or something, turning that Elvish Reclaimer into this really fast mana engine where you can almost just use it as a ritual. Like if you have a Cradle in hand, you tap your Cradle and then, tap your Reclaimer for another Cradle. My opponent seems to be just actually playing Amulet Titan though, which is kind of cool. Summer Bloom. I will brainstorm in response. Okay, we didn't find a Force of Will, but we did find a way to interact with Titan if they do find it, so I'm pretty happy about that. Four mana. Wow, they're going really deep. They still have 1 more land drop, I think. Are they bouncing Ancient Tomb? Yeah. Okay. So they have another land drop, and then they'll have 5 mana. Pretty good. They gotta have a third land. Yeah, okay, they have a taiga. I don't think they have another land drop, so I think I can just let this happen. Another amulet is scary, but okay. Oh, I should have fetched in response to that, huh? Okay, so this means I should Solitude now. I feel like I'm probably dead. They don't have any extra land drop spells at this point, but I feel like they're likely to find one. Oh, Jesus, okay. Yep. Gruul Turf. Alright, there are truly some things going on over there. I'm probably gonna scoop it up. I'm not interested in seeing how this goes. I guess, no, we can let them do their thing. We might learn something. But this is not... Like, clearly they've beaten me, you know? Yeah, alright. Let's go to game 2. This isn't gonna be that fun to watch. I think I want definitely ways to interact with Horn of Greed. That seems really powerful. Hydroblasts for their Valakut explorations and Escape to the Wilds. Subtlety seems good. Back to Basics seems amazing. Do I want Swords to Plowshares for their creatures? I assume there's Primeval Titan, but also maybe Dryad of the Elysian Grove and whatnot. I'm gonna assume I don't. Let's cut these. We'll cut the Hawks. And I think that's probably fine. We have every pitch spell in the deck, which I think is good. I feel like their strategy likely hinges on, you know, one card that's providing them a lot of advantage. In that game, it was the first Horn of Greed. Or even the Summer Bloom. We could have Force of Willed, and I would have felt really good about it. So I think these are probably good options. Maybe I want Swords to Plowshares over Terminus, though. Like, they might have Field of the Dead, but we also didn't see that. And they have so many bounce lands that I don't know if they're going to assemble that many lands in play. If we can stop them from accelerating. So game 2 on the draw. I'm inclined to keep this. Hopefully Hydroblast can tag something useful. But we have a Subtlety to interact. And then we have a White Plume to hopefully gain some advantage once we've interacted a bit. I'm gonna go Island Go. forest. Exploration. I'm gonna let this resolve. I'm gonna fight over their card advantage engines. Amulet of Vigor. Yep. Nice. Okay, that's a really good draw. Question is, would I rather fight over Exploration or Amulet of Vigor? My instinct is that Exploration is more powerful, so that's what I'm going to go with here. Yep, they got a growth chamber. I don't think you need to tap your forest in response, do you? Oh, they're gonna bounce their forest. Okay, so this I would like to interact with, because right now they don't have any land drops left. The question is, would I like to brainstorm first? I might find a better card to pitch to Subtlety, though I think I'm likely pitching the Hydroblast at this point anyways. Or I might find a Force of Will that I'd rather counter this permanently. So I think I'm going to brainstorm in response. It'll mean that I can shuffle away one card with this... this White Plume next turn. Okay, I think this is reasonable. So we'll put Plains Teferi on top. And then we'll Subtlety pitching the Hydroblast. Make them redraw this Dryad if they want it. Curious where they put this. They might just have like another copy in hand or something, in which case we are gonna want to not draw. They're gonna want to not draw it, but we'll see. They'll tell us about their hand, certainly. We know they have Forest and 2 unknown cards. They put it on the bottom. Okay. Okay, so we're gonna untap, draw Teferi, which will likely just be a pitch card to Solitude, and then slam this White Plume Adventurer. Get a basic island, and it's your go. I think 9 times out of 10, unless you believe your opponent has a removal spell, immediately you should be going to the Forge, but right now I'm wondering if I should be going to the Lost Well, where their deck might so effectively go over the top that I might want to try to find another piece of interaction really fast. We'll see though. I wonder if they have Titan in their hand right now. And are just about to cast it. Sort of seem... No, they have another Dryad. Okay. They're gonna get another land drop anyways, so I don't think I need to Solitude this second. Now I will go to the Forge. Okay, nice. We drew another white card. So that makes me feel pretty comfortable in just bouncing the Dryad here. Then I'll attack for 5. And pass the turn. Same thing here. I don't feel like I need to, you know, kill the Dryad the first moment I have priority with it on the battlefield. In case they slam like a Primeval Titan, and I would rather interact with that. It's also worth noting that they are missing red mana without the Dryad, and that might be a reason to try to interact with it. Like, let's see, if they have another bounce land in hand, they have 5 mana in play now, and if they play bounce land now, pick it up, play Dryad with the mana floating. Yep, yeah, I agree with this choice by my opponent. Basically, you wanna float before you play the Dryad, so that you're guaranteed to get the second land drop. Because now, if their last card is like Escape to the Wilds, they're gonna always be able to float red mana with the Dryad in play, and be guaranteed their second land drop. So, good move by my opponent. I'm just going to let them go through with all of this, because the damage is kind of done. They've already had their second land drop. We do have red mana. So this is an Escape or an Omnath or something. Escape to the Wilds. Okay, we had a bunch of lands, an extra amulet, and a Summer Bloom. So they're going to develop their mana very well here. But I don't think they have any huge source of advantage going. So again, I'm hoping I can fight over those and not over their mana, because at this point, I don't think we're fighting their mana. They can play all these lands this turn if they'd like to. They're going to pass the turn though. Okay. Alright, we'll untap. We'll go to the trap. Okay. I'm gonna tick up Teferi and attack. They might chump block, in which case I can save my Solitude. But I think at this point I would like to hold on. So, my instinct is to kill this right now, but I'm actually tempted to let it untap, where, again, they have a Summer Bloom in exile that we're not going to interact with. They're going to be able to play a million lands this turn. They're going to be able to make a million mana this turn. Maybe I'd rather interact with something like a Primeval Titan, or, you know, at least let them cast Primeval Titan and go dig up a bunch of Valakuts, and then I can Solitude in response to the Valakut triggers and deny them their triggers. So I'm gonna pass. And they just concede. I bet they just were missing any sort of advantage engine. I'm curious whether or not these submerges might be something that I want, but I'm also wondering if they're not necessarily likely to put a forest into play So I don't know, maybe we try him though. In that case, I also think the dress down might be good. So we could cut plows entirely. Maybe cut caretaker as just, it's a little clunky. Play something like this. Maximum free spells. Alright, I'm again inclined to keep this and hope that Force of Negation on a key piece early is very good, and then we can have, you know, Teferi and Jace come down and take over the game at that point. I've never played against a deck like this though, so I'm not exactly sure which pieces of their strategy I want to be interacting with. That's definitely a question that, having played this matchup more, would answer. Like, so far I haven't felt like Amulet of Vigor is that key to their strategy. So as I'm saying, I think I'm tempted to let this resolve and try to counter, you know, something like Escape to the Wilds or Valakut Exploration. We'll let it resolve. I'll play a Plains and Pass. It does let me slightly play around Carpet of Flowers if I play my Plains before my islands here. Rule Turf. Okay, they're gonna pick up the turf. Cast Exploration. So this I would counter. That's a good draw. It's a very good draw. I'll play my Prismatic Vista because it can get basic island and then pass the turn. Hopefully they play something like a Dryad and I can submerge it and then untap and bounce their Amulet with Teferi. Alright, roll turf. We'll pick up Rule Turf. Dryad. Okay. I have to submerge in response to the Gruul Turf trigger, because if I don't, they might pick up their Taiga and then make me unable to cast. Oh, alright, we might lose. Did they just forget to float? Yeah, I think they forgot to float with their Amulet. That might lose them the game if I untap and bounce their Amulet. Though one could argue that the damage on the Amulet is mostly done. This takes me off Solitude for a second. Oh, or it doesn't. But I think it's worth it to put a to put the amulet back in their hand. Okay, here's Dryad. I do think it's a worthwhile question of whether or not I bounce the Dryad or Solitude it, and I think I'm supposed to cast Solitude here, but we'll brainstorm first, which I think cemented that decision. So here's another amulet, and then with only one land drop, they can only get up to 4 mana here. Yeah, I think unfortunately this decision where they didn't float mana in response to their amulet trigger is going to cost them the game. I could ending the amulet in their upkeep or in response to something, but I don't think it's necessary. I think just getting it out of here is better. Horn of Greed. Yep. So I'll play a land and draw a card. I will want to answer that. I'm gonna trade my Teferi for this Horn of Greed for a second. Oh, I should have played a land first though, huh? Yeah, that was a mistake. I would have drawn a card. I can brainstorm again. Yeah, now this like Force of Negation can hopefully wrap things up here. Definitely a cool first round, but maybe not the most challenging one. Though, again, I definitely got lucky with that. With that mistake by my opponent, which is unfortunate for them. They would have been able to cast that Escape to Wilds like 3 turns ago. Cool. Alright, we'll put lands back and be kind of off to the races with White Plume Adventurer. I'll grab another island. I think blue mana is going to be our only gate this game. And yeah, now we're just going to counter everything they play and continue to gain an advantage with Jace and White Plume Adventurer. This is probably the Horn of Greed, which I will counter. No group hug in my 1v1 format. I will not let it resolve. I made the mistake of getting hot coffee again. It always becomes cold coffee. You gotta just have it start out cold. Alright, they'll play Gruul Turf. Pick up their tomb and probably pass the turn. Yeah, okay. Forge, grow my guy. All I want to see is like Force of Will or similar cards here. I'll play the White Plume next turn. Where it'll turbo me all the way to the end of the dungeon, and maybe can hit a Solitude for a creature that I don't need to counter. Though, to be fair, I'm probably countering almost any creature that they play, or at least putting it back on top of their library. They could sneak through something like a Horn of Greed here. This is another Escape to the Wilds. Yeah, we'll Brainstorm. Oh, okay. I would have conceded to the Hydroblast, not the Brainstorm, but cool round one. Sorry for my opponent to miss that Gruul Turf tap early, but happens. And I'll see you for round two. Alright, back for round two. On the play, finally. Thank you. And we got a great hand. Keep. We got a Force to interact early. We got a Jace to interact late. I'll ponder. I want to find like White Plume Adventurer. Oh, how do I feel about a Hawk? I probably feel pretty good about a Hawk. I want to make sure I shuffle so that I don't draw the second Hawk, but Petal, Dark Ritual, Cabal Ritual, you gonna pact me? I feel like they might pact me. Yep. Just look at their deck quick. What do we got? Normal. Okay, scoop it up. Alright, game one against Oops is always going to be tough here, but the sideboard's very good for this matchup. Rest in Peace, obviously excellent. I think Stony Silence is good enough, and it's something I'm going to bring in to counter more or less just their Petals, but I think that's good enough. They also play Chrome Mox. Subtlety is exceptional. Force of Negation is good. Submerge is not good. I don't want Submerge. Go away. Dress Down's nice. What I don't like, unfortunately, this is not a Hawk matchup, I don't think. Let's see what else I can cut first. Plows are bad. Back to Basic is bad. Terminus is bad. I think last time I tried cutting 2 Solitudes in a Feywild and leaving in the Hawks as just a card advantage engine. And yeah, now we get to go into this matchup with 10 free pieces of interaction for their combo turn. And then some good permanents that also interact. Alright, we're on the play. And what do we got? We got a Negation and a Rest in Peace. Amazing. I will not cast the Ponder on turn 1. I do not think it is worth it. I don't want to risk losing my blue card to pitch to Force of Negation. Worth noting, this is a Force of Negation, not a Force of Will, so I probably have to interact with some piece of mana. And with the Rest in Peace in hand, I'm inclined to just interact early. I'd rather counter the first piece of acceleration. Like if they go Black Source Dark Ritual, I'll counter the Dark Ritual rather than waiting for the piece that lets them get up to 4. Because often that's something like an Elvish Spirit Guide that I can't interact with anyways. So. Alright, they mulled a 5. And we have interaction, so I'm feeling good about this game. Obviously, things often go wrong, but let's hope they don't. Xantid Swarm, yep. That's often one of their pieces of interaction here. Thankfully has no power, so cannot take the initiative back. We'll get an island and make Rest in Peace, which will not buy us infinite time, but will buy us some time. They theoretically... Oh, never mind. It will buy us infinite time. Okay, so they do have Xantid Swarm. I don't think that changes how I sideboard. We still have 2 Prismatic Ending and 2 Solitude. Teferi can bounce it. Subtlety can counter it. So I feel pretty good about my configuration here. We'll run it back. I have the Rest in Peace, but I don't have any other piece of interaction, so I feel like I have to mulligan. This seems better. I'm gonna keep this. Probably ship. Stony Silence? Alright, they mulled to 4, so we're gonna get a little... Oh, they mulled to 3. Okay. And they're off it. Alright, well... Another not incredibly interesting match, but that is what my opponent signed up for. Sometimes you turn 1 them and they can't interact, and sometimes you mull to 3. Oops is a cool deck, but I don't think I could ever play it for that reason. We'll see you back in a minute for round 3. Alright, back for round 3 on the draw. Unfortunately, my opponent is not here yet, or is really thinking about something. We've got what is probably a fine hand. Obviously, we don't know what we're playing against. I'm not going to Google them, but we got a few reactive pieces. They're going to play a Trop. I don't know what that tells me. Upkeep. Okay. I'll play a Flooded Strand and pass. I feel like Tropical Island could be JPA's Rogue Dragon deck. It could be Show and Tell again. Brainstorm. Oh, Foil Brainstorm. It could be 4-color control. That's probably the most likely. We'll know a lot from what land they fetch here. Savannah. Yeah, it's probably 4-color control. Noble Hierarch. Oh! This might be the player that just trophied with Infect. Nice. That's an absolutely perfect draw. I will play Misty. I'm probably just going to interact with this this Noble Hierarch now. We don't know that they're infect, but that's one of the things that I feel like they could be. It's a good time to start asking myself, oh, Nomad's in court. Okay, so it's like a Bant breakfast deck. That's cool. Would have been really happy to draw another white card there, but I think slamming here is good. I'm hoping that days means that they likely don't have Illusionist here, because if I were them, I certainly would save the days to protect my Illusionist. Right, your White Plume isn't doing much. Alright, we'll draw. We'll pass. This is cool, getting a whole row of funky decks today. I do wish I would draw something that isn't a land, but that's okay. So Teferi, Recruiter of the Guard. I'll subtlety that. Seems good enough. If they want to jam it through with a Force of Will, that seems also fine to me. Then I can interact with their creatures with Solitude. They put it on the bottom. Okay. Oh. Untap. Not a land? No land. That is a land. We'll play it. Drawing quite a few of those. Hopefully you'll find a brainstorm at some point. I'm gonna stop playing lands after 6. Six for both of these spells through a daze is nice, but it's another recruiter. Yep. I assume this is going to get Illusionist, yes. This is the strength of these two cards. Okay, Force Pitch and Archimedes. Because they're creatures and spells. Oh, that's really good. Because they're creatures and spells, you get to even when you flood out, sort of get them as 2-for-1s. This is probably Illusionist. I have to force. They might have another illusionist. Underground Sea. Burrow. Okay. If they find illusionist off the top, I will die here. But I don't think they had it last turn. So I'm not sure if they're likely to have it this turn. Oh, I could have gotten in for 3. That's a mistake. It's possible I should have is their own Teferi? Skyclave. Sure. Jite? Man, they're going deep. I'm really tempted to scry 2 here. Just ensure that I find some sort of action. Yeah, I'm gonna scry 2. Again, I'm keeping the swords in my hand. And keeping this plains in my hand because I don't feel like I need to play it. Ponder, sure. Opponent chooses to shuffle. We ponder again. It's a cool deck. Little Uro breakfast. This time they don't shuffle. Is this an illusionist? No, they just have another ponder. And then they shuffle. Are we equipping? Yep. It's a really good draw. same deal. We'll just get in with subtlety, put them down to 8 here, and pass the turn. My opponent is asking about my deck. I'll answer them in a second here. I want to think about this. Alright, what do we got? Is this Uro? Yes. I don't need to bounce it yet. True name. Yep. So I definitely want them to pick up the Uro. The question is, do I want to interact with anything else right now? If I play Solitude, kill the Skyclave, get a 3/3, they go up to 11, then I have 4 creatures. They wouldn't even have to chump block. Alright, I'm just gonna untap. Go to Catacombs. They're asking if I've done well. Hold on, let's draw first though. Okay, Jace is pretty good, huh? Oh, and their last card's Force of Will. It's pretty good. Okay. They're gonna put a GT on a True Name Nemesis, which is sort of trouble. Oh, and they pitched Uro. Okay, so the Uro's gone. That was a reason to bounce on my turn. Okay, yep, we're suiting up that. I can't do anything about it. I'll reply to my opponent. attack. Okay, we'll see if they have any basics. I do have to be careful about clock. Okay, so again, let's do a little check about what did they get? They got Island and they kept it in hand. If let's say I kill the Nomads, and then I have, no, killing the Skyclave's just better. So if I kill Skyclave here, I'll have a 3/3, a 3/2. Yeah, this should be more or less lethal. Or at least I can force them to use their GT counters on gaining life. Yep, kill the 4/1. Gain 2, yep. And they still... Oh, they're still dead? Oh, they don't have to chomp. That's cool. Because this thing, it doesn't matter if it's stealth damage. Yup. They have to have a plow or something, though. Okay. Cool deck for my opponent. I'll tell them about video later. Okay, I like Submerge. I feel like I don't like Forcible. I feel like we don't need it. I like Rest in Peace against Uro and their combination. Dress Down is a good way to interact with True Name Nemesis. Swords to Plowshares interacts with their combo. And Back to Basics seemed really good. And Subtlety probably seemed really good. So we have maybe too many good cards. And I feel like this is a Hawk matchup. So I guess the question is, how do I lose? I can get early comboed, which I think Subtlety is good against. I can get got by True Name, so we want to leave in Terminus. I could get beaten by like Uro. I don't know, maybe we just cut a little bit of the clunk. And maybe I don't need... Like, maybe Teferi's not doing me that much. Or honestly, maybe I go down a couple White Plumes because they have True Name Nemesis, and I don't feel like I need to always have access to that effect. Something like this. I might have too much removal. It might be bad to be relying on a bunch of 1-for-1 removal spells where I would prefer to have like Terminus. Alright, well. I'll keep this. Submerge plus Prismatic Ending plus 2 advantage engines. Seems really good. Alright, they're asking a lot of questions. Hold on. I'll answer in a second. I'm gonna let their ponder resolve. I don't want to get clocked here. Okay, I'll go Tundra, go. We'll draw. Brainstorms is a nice pickup, but I don't feel like I need to do anything now. They haven't gotten a forest, which is tough. Maybe they'll get one now. Hope they get one now. Nope. They're too smart. Is this true name? Recruiter, sure. True name. Yep. Alright, I think what I want to do here is just jam White Plume. Okay, they're gonna daze it, which I don't really want to interact with. Yep, true name resolves. So we certainly want to be setting up a brainstorm into a terminus, which I suspect I can get going at some point. They've also fetched 2 basic lands, damn. Ooh, I kind of like Hawk here. Yeah, it's a great draw. They're gonna force my Hawk? Sure. I'll pass. Like to see like Terminus off the top. Maybe a Jace would be a good pickup here. But I really do need to find Terminus. We'll brainstorm. I'll put back Submerge, Plow, fetch a plains in my upkeep, draw. I'm gonna play Teferi now. With the idea that if I uptick Teferi, I can set up a Terminus on their turn that they can interact with, perhaps, off of this this Ponder. Okay, these are both going at me, which seems reasonable. Alright, I will ponder here. Do not shuffle. Upkeep. I will shuffle. I'll pass here. Again, we're just looking to set up Terminus. Bayou. Is this Uro? This prismatic ending. I'll ponder in response to that. Casting a lot of spells here. Wow, we cannot find the Terminus. But that's alright. I'll go to like 4 here, 5. Draw Terminus? Nope. Brainstorm though. Yeah, I'm just gonna go to 1. Okay, we found it. I feel like they're gonna have a Force of Will, but we gotta try. Yeah, it would have been nice to find that off the Teferi, but that's okay. I don't feel like I need to do anything differently here. Maybe the extra Rest in Peace is not that necessary. We can just play 1. Maybe I want neither of them. They didn't feel like they were really relying on Uro that game. And Solitude is actually pretty good at just racing a True Name Nemesis. So I'll try something like this. I like that they didn't see Back to Basics that game, even though we did have it in the deck. That lets me, maybe leverage that fact, and maybe they won't play around it. There it is. Yeah, I'll keep this. Sand seems very good. They're on a mole too. Maybe we can get a nice quick dub here. I'll lead on planes. There's a little tension where like I kind of want to brainstorm into a fetch land on 2, but I also don't want to get Tundra because hopefully I'm going to play this Back to Basics. So Ponder, yep. But I might just play Squadron Hawk on turn 2 here as well. And that's probably what I'll do. This is one of these spots where, like, I'm not remotely afraid of a daze. If they want to daze my Hawk and go back to, you know, 0 lands in play, they are very welcome to. Brainstorm resolves. I will try to avoid getting my back to basics dazed. Especially if they get another non-basic here. Yeah. Noble Hierarchy, yep. Alright, so I will brainstorm. Hopefully brainstorm away a couple Hawks here. Yeah, and I don't think I even need to keep any Hawks. Then I'm going to play a land and plow their Hierarch. Hoping they, like, cast some sort of 3-mana play here. Teferi. Yeah, that's one of the more unfortunate ones, but I'll fetch a plains in my upkeep, draw my own Teferi. I think I'd rather just jam here. They're gonna double daze. I'll keep plunking away at their Teferi. And hopefully pull ahead with something like a Jace. I like forcing them into an awkward brainstorm here. They really wanted to untap and cast that, shuffle away a land. there's a lot of options here. Okay. So I do want to be able to pressure their Teferi. I could play a Teferi of my own. I'm gonna just Google how that works. MTG 2 Teferis sorcery. Okay, interesting. I think Googling it says that playing your own Teferi, it overrides theirs, which is interesting. So I'm going to assume that Google's right. And I want to play my own. And I'll tick up. And now neither of us will be casting sorceries. Oh, no, it seems like I can't. Okay. Are they prismatic ending my Jace? Feels like that's... Yep, okay. I'll fetch upkeep. I'm gonna try to assemble a little bit of a bird army here. And they still could combo me entirely from under this Teferi, which is a little bit of trouble. I'm gonna play around, you know, a removal spell or something by just main phasing this extra subtlety, which is a little goofy, but I feel like I need to. What are we bouncing? Nothing. Sure. Okay. Now I have interaction up, which is very good. Yeah, that's fine. Alright, I'm feeling really good about my position here. I think they've probably gotten a little unlucky drawing a bunch of lands or something because they aren't killing me. And they just passed with their Teferi for like 4 turns, but I don't know exactly what's in their hand. Yep, they ponder. But I like the fact that I have 7 interactive cards in my hand, and they are behind on the battlefield as well. I think I can run out Solitude here. Just try to get blocking. Alright, try to get attacking, excuse me. This is definitely a weird league. Not a lot of, you know, traditional matchups. But that's okay. Pretty sure we're about to go to 3-0 here. They cannot interact with Subtlety unless they have Odawara. Yeah. So they had a bunch of counter magic, which made my Teferi pretty good. All right, well, 3-0. Even though maybe some weird matchups, but still 3-0. And I'll see you back for round 4 in a minute. All right, back on the draw for round 4. They have Yoran. Which makes me think they're either Death and Taxes or some control deck. I don't love my hand against either, so I'll probably mulligan. This seems better. I'll ship Solitude. Okay, yep, taxes. I will have to kill that. Good draw, just how we drew it up. Probably don't have much in the sideboard for this matchup. I think Stony Silence can probably come in. Subtlety is better than it. Yeah, Lion Sash, sure. That's an activated ability of an artifact right there. Speak of the devil. I'll play an island and pass. I might actually back to basics here. I don't feel like I'm under that much pressure out of either of these cards, and I don't know, back to basics seems pretty damn good. I could also make them pick up the Stoneforge, but that doesn't feel like it's anything. Sure. Obviously my position isn't like amazing or anything, but it seems alright. Would love to find like a land off the top to slam Jace and bounce their Sash. Yeah, these seem great. Okay, so I want to put Flooded Strand last because it's slightly better than Vista, Terminus, then another Vista. I will not shuffle. I will play Vista, and I'm going to pass the turn. Hopefully they like make another creature here, and I can untap Terminus and then cast White Plume. Alright, so we'll flip the Terminus. Sure. Then I'll get another basic plains, and I will gain the initiative. Back to Basics doing work in this game. I will certainly board it out, though. Yep, that's fine. Makes my decision of dungeon real easy. I probably would have done that on my turn, I think. Maybe you can trick me into going to the forge and then plow in response. Bottom, top, don't mind drawing subtlety off of this Jace. All 0. And put like Tundra, Terminus back. I don't think I need to play the Vista, and I'll just pass the turn. What do we got? Recruiter? Yep. Mother of Runes, yeah. So I should decide here, basically, do I want to bounce the Recruiter because they're unlikely to be able to replay it, and then I can use, Subtlety, Terminus later to deal with it, or I could just Terminus it. I think that's the answer. I think, Terminus feels like a high value card, but I think they're unlikely to put more than one creature in play for the rest of the game anyway, so it's just another Swords to Plowshares, and it's easy to cast right now, so I should do it. I will go into the stash. I'll draw Terminus. I'll reveal it. I'll cast it. I'll brainstorm. Put back 2 fetchables, play a Vista, and pass. Now they'll probably play Mom, which I will use Subtlety to interact with. Yep. I agree with the concession there. That was really interesting. Back to Basics, usually a bad card against these decks, but certainly did some work there. I don't know how I should be boarding against taxes in 2022. Let me go turn on the light. It's getting a little dark in here. You used to cut all your Force of Wills because they were so likely to have Aether Vial and even multiple copies of Aether Vial that you could interact in that way with them. Well, you couldn't interact in that way with them, and therefore, like, Force of Will was really tough because you needed to Force of Will the turn 1 Aether Vial, or the rest of your deck would be sort of dead to Force of Will. So I'm not sure exactly what I should do there. I know I like these extra plows. I know I like Stony Silence. I think I like Dress Down, and I think I like Subtlety. And I think we will probably just board out Force of Will back to base 6. Again, looked really good that game. Their mana base has like 18 planes or something in it, so I don't think it's likely to look that good every game. We just got kind of lucky. Yeah, let's try this. Again, goal is similar. Keep the board clear, play an advantage engine, ride it to victory. This does some of those things. Planes. Weather of Runes. Yep. So glad to see Mom instead of Aether Vial on turn 1. I'll get a basic Plains, and I'll plow Mom. They also have very good basic land choice. That one's a little vanilla though. That one, like, everybody likes the Lightning Bolt Plains. It's a very, very popular Plains, but I don't know. It's not the worst. I'm gonna Hawk. I'm gonna get 2 Hawks. I think I just heard the dog lie down against my door. I was letting her in here before, but she started grabbing socks the moment I started talking. She goes for clothes when she's not getting enough attention, and she doesn't really like destroy them or do anything. She just grabs them and walks around, you know, trying to get your attention. Like, hey, look what I got! I found your sock. So I kicked her out when she went for the socks. Couldn't have her doing that. I'll ponder. We want to find a plow. Oh, holy shit. Yeah, these are amazing. We'll go Terminus, Solitude, Swords to Plowshares. Don't shuffle. Yeah, those were insane draws. That was like maybe the best ponder I've ever seen. You set up the plow for the Stone Forge. You get your Terminus set up for, you know, a turn or so later. We even have a Subtlety to interact with something, you know, hard to interact with next turn. I don't feel like I need to plow a Stone Forge, so I will just pass. That's fine. Terminus is so good. All you boomers that got to play this with Sensei's Divine Top, I'm very jealous of. And I'll just pass. they're so likely to play a creature next turn that I can interact it with subtlety that I don't feel like I need to. Yeah, like Thalia, the fine thing to subtlety. They put it on top. They plow this. Yeah, that's fine. So they'll conceivably cast Thalia next turn, which I can interact with my Squadron Hawk fueled Solitude. So I feel like I can just slam Jace here. What I would like to see is a land in these top three. Yep, I can shuffle away Jace and a Hawk. And now I can play the Hawk. Get the other 3 Hawks. This is what you want to do when you're playing Kago. Again, it does not matter that these are 1/1 flyers. We're not putting them in play. They're just Arby's coupons that we keep in our wallet until we need to do something with them. And right now, we're going to put them on the bottom of the library and then draw them again. This is Thalia, Apparition. Yep. Sure. That was a good interaction by them, and maybe I should have kept the second Jace for that reason, but they're still, like, the damage is done. I'll plow this. Make a 4/4. And then take the initiative. And spoiler alert, if you're following along at home, we're not going to give it back. Yep, and they're off it. 4-0. We'll see you for next round. See if we can get the trophy. All right. Back here for round 5 after a little dinner break, and we are on the draw against combo gamer Tony Scaponi. I do not think I can keep this 7. It would be marginal in a random matchup, but it's pretty bad against Tony, I think. I want Force of Will, I want Prismatic Ending, I want something to interact, so I'm going to mulligan. This is better. I will put Solitude on top. And hope that he's going to just force check me. Thought sees me. Yep. Takes the Brainstorm. Yep. Will not reveal Terminus. I will play the Plains and I will pass. I think we're kind of in trouble here. He's probably going to take the Terminus. If I find some sort of Brainstorm effect, no, he's going to take Force of Will. That might mean I'm dead, too. Like, he could cast Painter. No, okay. Okay, I think here I just have to jam. and hope that things might get slightly better for me, which they probably won't. Hopefully he doesn't have Shadow Spear. Oh, he's floating mana? That's bad. You gotta think we're dead here then. Dark Ritual. Yup. Just peer into the abyss. Infernal Tutor. Crack the LED. Yup. What are we getting? Tony says, oops. Oh no. Are we gonna steal a game? Cast Burning Wish. Sure. Maybe he meant to float blue off this LED. So he might just make like a bunch of goblins or something. I don't know what's going on. Grape Shot. Yeah, I mean, this will take the initiative. I'm guessing he doesn't have a basic land to get. He does. Alright, I mean, this is as good as I could hope for here. This is going to be kind of a funny league if I win this game. Definitely got lucky to win round 1. Though I don't know what would have happened if my opponent had resolved that Escape to the Wilds, but certainly was a far easier game because they forgot to tap that Gold Turf. And then Tony clearly made a mistake here. I'm not sure what it is. I don't know his deck list. I don't know how game breaking it is, but he did cast an Infernal Tutor with a ton of mana floating, so you gotta imagine something was going on. Here, I gotta try to take the initiative back with Subtlety, and then plow the Construct token here, and hope that that's good enough. Hopefully his last card is not something that interacts with Subtlety, though, you know, I can't imagine he's got a ton of main deck interaction. Jesus, he drew Ad Nauseam. Yeah, that's pretty good, huh? He's got to be a little careful. Yep. So he's got a whole bunch of mana and then one tutor. I gotta imagine I'm dead here. Though he doesn't have red mana. So no, I guess he has a Mox Opal. Okay, this is the Wish Claw. LED. Okay, I gotta be dead then. Yup. Alright, good ad nauseum off the top, for sure, but also I think we would have been dead that first turn if he didn't miss sequence, so it doesn't really feel like he stole anything. Stony Silence, Force of Negation. I think Back to Basics is probably good if he's going to be, setting up with Ancient Tombs and casting Urza Saga. I don't mind that. I also don't mind Dress Down against Saga. We saw Burning Wish, so I think Hydroblast is probably reasonable. Though he did have a main deck Tendrils, so maybe not. The Rest in Pieces seem unnecessary. Let's see what I have to cut here. The Plows can come out. Honestly, a lot of my deck's pretty good. I think Subtlety seems unnecessary, and we can probably cut a Solitude. Yeah, let's try like this. Whoa, wait. I didn't mean to cut Feywild Caretaker, though it's definitely not the worst card to cut. I'll keep this. Just want some lands now. Hopefully he's got a game plan that resolves a little more around Saga here. Okay. So I'll draw a White Plume, and then we'll fetch a basic Plains and Prismatic, ending this Wishclaw Talisman. He can't interact. He can't activate in response because it's only on your turn. And I'm hoping the combination now of Force of Negation to interact with his spells and then Dress Down to interact with his constructs is going to be good enough. It's looking like I might have to take a hit off of a construct to make sure that I get all four, or all three probably, but that's okay. I will Brainstorm main phase. This could go really badly, but I'm hoping it won't. In fact, it will. Yikes. Okay, we'll put White Plume Terminus on top and pass the turn. So Terminus is going to clean up the first round of constructs, and then White Plume the second, maybe. I mean, and then Dress Down the second. Though I think I may have to reverse that. And just cast Dress Down next turn and not Miracle. Wow, Shadow Spear? Okay, now I'm feeling pretty good about this game. I have force to cover whatever creatures, to cover whatever spells are left when the dust settles here, but I'm gonna untap. I'm gonna draw Terminus. I will Miracle. We'll put these on the bottom. I liked how Shadow Spear hung out there. Like, hey, I used to be attached. So I know my top card is White Plume Adventurer, but I don't know the cards below it. I don't know if that means that I should Brainstorm End Step here if I'm very likely to cast Dress Down next turn anyways. I think that might be a reasonable play, is to... Oh, they have a third Saga. Jesus, Tony. Okay. Yeah, it's not great. I will Brainstorm. Okay. This is really bad. I think I'll negation almost any spell. Probably not like another mana artifact, but I will negation if he casts anything that cycles, anything that develops his game plan in any way other than mana. This can resolve. That adds another point of damage, and lets him make a construct without using the Lotus Petal, which again saves another point of damage. Yeah, so now he's got a main phase make another construct. Yep. So I'm going to have to take the 6 here, which is a little unfortunate, and then I'm going to have to pass again. So we'll draw Jace, pass. Yeah, I mean, he's deciding whether or not to activate, which is reasonable. Because I think you have to assume that I have something like Dress Down. I guess I could have Swords to Plowshares plus Solitude, or like double Solitude. But he's gonna float. Yeah, good read. I'm assuming the mana doesn't do a ton for him here, but it might. I hope he doesn't have like a Retrofitter Foundry or something. It's gonna make the game even harder as the game goes along. What do we get? Just another LED. That's fine. I can interact with most of the things that LED allows. Is this an equip? This is a dark ritual. Sure. Burning Wish. Alright, I do have to force this. I will pitch Jace the Mind Sculptor. Land? Nope. Hawk's not bad, but he's gonna scoop it up? Dude, I think you were reasonably likely to win that game. Okay. Still saw no more graveyard things from him. I think Hydroblast might be good enough, though. It felt like Burning Wish is sort of a key part of his deck. So we'll leave those in over maybe a Solitude. I might cut Caracas. Doesn't seem particularly useful. I cannot keep this hand. I mean, if he's got it... No, I cannot. I cannot. Cannot keep this hand either, though. Mold a 5. Do it. No, he can keep 6. This one I'll keep. We'll put Terminus and Hawk back. I think... Yeah, Thoughtseize is so bad. If he takes Dress down, it means we're gonna die so fast. Okay, and took Force of Will. Soul Guide. Yep. Yep. Oh, Tony's got kind of a slow hand, huh? That probably could change very quickly, though. Okay, here's a Saga. Sure. Don't love that, but... Alright. This is not great. We can kind of hope that he doesn't have enough pieces to go for something here, but there's no way. Another Talisman, sure. Mox. So I'm wondering if I might be dead to anything that does not include me finding Stony Silence this turn. And if that's the case, then I should cycle this Dress Down on Tony's end step. So I think I'm going to do that. This is not a play that you make from any sort of strength, but I think I'm forced into this play. That is a basic land. I'm gonna pass with Hydroblast up and hope that whatever line he has to take here involves Burning Wish, because there's not much else that is gonna go well for me here. Yeah, okay, I'm dead. That's too bad. I don't know if there's much I can do. We're just going for max storm. Tony, I'm dead. Show me the tendies. We need to cast Ad Nauseam? Oh, because he can't enable Infernal Tutor. No way. No, okay, he found an LED, and now he can play LED and crack an Infernal Tutor. Dude, you know my hand. Come on. Just show me a storm spell. I don't know what we're doing here. Yeah, okay. Alright. That's tough. Really wanted that 5-0. But 4-1, better than nothing. I felt like we got pretty unlucky in that third game too. To mold a 5 and then to just draw runner lands. But his hand was good. Tony's obviously very good. And I certainly don't know if that's going to be the easiest matchup for us anyways. So, good beats. We'll go back to the deck for a second. If anybody wants to peek for one last time. Hold up. Let me put my sideboard in the same pile. Yeah, here's a 75. There's 2 prismatic ending hiding over here. There they are. But here's a 75. 4-1 isn't too shabby, but missing out on the trophy by a game hurts. I am wondering if we want the second Stony Silence. I think it is the best card in the Storm matchups, in addition to being good against 8 cast, good against some other decks that you might expect to see in your leagues. I think it might even be serviceable against the initiative decks, but I would have to test that. It might also not be good enough. You might need it in conjunction with something like a subtlety, and that might be, it's your subtlety that's doing the work, and you'd rather just draw a normal magic card than something like Stony Silence. I don't know. But good league. Thanks for tuning in if you did, and we'll catch you next time.